Hi, this is Dana from PasswordReset.com. I'm a certified computer technician from Huntington Beach, California, and I specialize in Windows login password removal. You're probably watching this because you forgot your Windows password. Fortunately, it can be easily removed using my solution. Anyone can do it, there's no special skills required, you just follow my instructions. It works on all versions of Windows, from the old NT all the way up to Windows 8, and even the Windows 10 evaluation if you're running that. I'm going to show you, after the introduction, the process from start to finish. The quickest way is to use my instant download and create the removal tool on CD or USB drive. If you don't have access to another computer, you can have it sent to you. My website has further details on how to order my complete kit. If you have another computer available, we'll go ahead and get started right now, and I can have you logged in no time. Okay, the first thing you're going to do in order to remove your password is you're going to have to download the file off our website, and that is going to be at password-reset.com. You've probably already been there, and we're at the home page here. We're just going to go up here at the top and go to the download and instructions page, and this can be done on any computer, XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, whatever you have, and it doesn't matter what you're resetting. You can download on one type of version of Windows and reset a different type. It's all interchangeable. It's the same program. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here on the instructions page to the blue bar and just click that to expand the instructions completely, and then click here to download file just below that in red. So you're going to go ahead and click on that. I'm using Chrome, so it's just going to automatically start downloading, and then we're just going to go ahead and give that a few minutes to download. It can take anywhere from probably a minute if you have a really lightning fast connection to maybe 5 or so. Just depends. It's 175 megabytes, which these days is real easy to download. So once that's finished downloading, we'll proceed from there. Okay, now that we've finished downloading the file, we're going to go ahead and run the file. So we need to find it. Most browsers, including Chrome, which I was using, will put it in the downloads folder, and that's real easy to find. You can usually find it by just clicking on the start bar, going to computer or my computer if you're using XP or something a little older. And then over here in the favorites you'll see downloads. A sure way to do it if that's not working is just to go to your start bar and in the search box just type in the word downloads. I'm just going to paste it in because I have it in my clipboard, and at the top here you see the downloads folder, so you can usually find it either way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and launch the file, and this file is perfectly safe. There's no harm in running it, and we just double click on it, and then you'll usually get a warning, and you can go ahead and say yes, and then it'll run the program password reset, and this will allow you to create either a USB or CD or DVD depending on what you have available. Now I'll go ahead and shut this down just to make it a little more visible. So be sure to use CD-R, DVD-R, and make sure you have a DVD compatible drive. If you use DVDs, some older ones only take CD, so you have to use a CD. And that goes for both the one you're creating it with and the one you're running it on. In this case, I'm going to use a USB drive, and I have a drive right here. It's 8 gigabytes. You can use just about any size. I'm going to plug it into the side of the machine, and then sometimes it takes a couple seconds for it to register. In this case, it's just opening it up and showing me what's inside. I'm going to go ahead and close this. If you get a dialog box asking you what to do with your USB drive, you know, saying it's been inserted and flash up a little thing, just close it because you want the password reset program to do all the thinking. So at this point, all we need to do now is just click on USB, and it shows it in here. Just verify that's the right thing. If you had like a camera card in your slot, which some people forget and leave them in there, it might go to that, and you could choose between this, but I would suggest removing any other cards you have in, just so there's no confusion. And then I'm just going to say begin copying. Now mine has a program already on it and files, so I'm going to go ahead and tell it to erase them. You won't get this unless you have files on it. If it's blank, it'll skip this, but just be aware that it will erase anything on there, so you don't want to use one that you have files you need on. And I just hit erase USB device, confirm, and then what's going to do is start formatting and complete the downloading the proper files to the USB drive. And we're going to go ahead and let that happen. It might take a minute, minute and a half. Can be real fast on a real fast machine. So just patiently wait for it, and when it's done, you'll know. Okay, as you can see, the USB has been completely formatted. Boot disk is complete. You get the same thing on the CD if you use that. What I like to do is just to verify the files are on there. So if you open up your My Computer or so forth, just like one of these windows again, you can find the drive in here. It's the removable disk E, and it does have a little lock icon on it. And just verify that you have license and boot and all these files. You know, if you don't see anything, or if you just have like one file, then you may have done something wrong. So anyway, from there, we're going to go ahead and now use this to boot the computer with the forgotten password and remove the password. Alright, now we're at our computer that we want to reset the password on. As you can see, I have this user over here. It has a password, type in what I think it is, doesn't want to go in, so we need to reset it. So I'm going to say OK, and we're going to go ahead and shut this machine down, and I'll show you how to start from the shutdown and remove the password. Okay, we're now sitting at the machine shut down. Now if you're going to use a CD or DVD, you'd obviously need to have put that in while it was running so you could open the drawer. Otherwise the USB can just be slipped right in the side into the slot, and then I'm going to go ahead and power it up. Now one thing I have to do is when I power it up, I'm going to have to go into the startup BIOS to tell it to boot from the USB if it's not already set that way, which usually they're not. So you can try it once to see, if not, shut it down, and then you can do this. Now I'm going to turn it on. I know that F2 on this machine is what is going to get me into the BIOS, or the UEFI if it's a newer Windows 8 machine or later. They both act the same way, but they're technically different terms for them. But when I shut it or turn it on, I'm going to go ahead and start tapping the F2 key, and you'll see for a split second down here at the bottom it'll say to hit F2 for setup, and most computers will tell you somewhere what to press. It might be delete, it could be escape, usually F2. So here I'm going to turn it on, and if you look down here you'll see it briefly maybe, and then I'm going to hit F2 and I tap it just to make sure I hit it at the right time, because it is like a certain window almost. Now that's into the BIOS. Now don't be afraid of this. This is something that can be changed. It can be put back to default what these settings already are if you might have accidentally changed something. They can be a little complicated for some of the brand names out there, but most of the time they're fairly simple. The newer ones are even mouse driven, so it just depends. And I have a BIOS page on the website that you can go to for further information on that, because it does go into further details on some of the more advanced UEFI systems. This one I'm just going to go up here at the top, and I just want to get over to boot here. And on all BIOSes it's usually in a section called boot, so I'm just going to use the arrow key to arrow over to boot, and then this is just showing the order of the boot. As you can see, HDD or hard disk drive is the first choice, so it's always going to go to that first. If I go to number 2, it's ODD, which is optical disk drive. That's another name for your CD or CD or DVD drive, and then USB. So all I want to do is just get USB above the hard drive, so it doesn't search for the hard drive. It goes to the USB and looks for an operating system. And what you created on the USB or the CD is basically an operating system. It's just on a smaller device. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight USB, and the F5 and 6 keys it says down at the bottom to move it or change value. So I'm just going to use F6 and it brings it up to the top, and then I simply hit F10 to save those changes. And most of these BIOSes use the same F keys, like F10 for saving and things like that. So, and you can just read them and it'll tell you, and you can always contact me for information. I'd be happy to give you what you need to know. You also notice that F9 is for setup defaults, so if you want to put it back to the way it was, use that key. And then in some machines you may have to put it back before you can go back into Windows after you've made your password reset change. So it just depends on the machine. So I'm just going to say yes by hitting enter, and that's all I need to do. And now it's going to reboot, and it's going to seek the USB drive this time. It says Windows is loading files. Now don't let that fool you. This is a Windows based program using what's like called a PE or pre-installed environment on the USB drive, and it's running Windows. So you'll see starting Windows, but you won't go into your hard drive. You're going to notice a difference once it gets to the screen that you're going to make your changes. Okay, as you can see, it's the resolution may be a little different, you know, bigger icons and so forth. What we're looking for is password reset over here. So we're just going to act like it's Windows. We're going to use the mouse to go over and double click on it. And then you'll see there's a list of usernames. These are the usernames associated with this machine. Now, here's another important thing that you need to be aware of. If you're running Windows 8.1 or later, which wouldn't be including like the Windows 10 beta that is out that some people may be running, if you have a username that is associated with an email address, those passwords aren't stored on the machine locally, they're actually stored on the email server. So the way you get into a machine like that is you're going to have to reset the administrator account, and then you're also going to enable it. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of show you both in this demonstration. Okay, if you notice at the bottom is the THAD or THADD account that I was locked out of. Okay, on this computer it's not an email account like Windows 8 uses, so I'm just going to remove the password. Now you're going to have to put in an activation key. This activation key is where you've reached the point where you know it's going to work, you've got it compatible with your system, and all you need to do is get your key and enter it to remove your password. So at this point you would need to go back to the website and purchase the key. Okay, so now if you've purchased your activation key, and it'll be instantly sent to you, so you will have it as soon as you order it. It's emailed to you, and it also takes you to the page afterwards. I have it down lowered because the key, obviously I don't want you to see the key. What you want to do is put that key in that space and then hit OK. So I'm going to hit enter for OK. And so what it's done now is I had this highlighted. We'll just go over it again. The THADD account. I hit remove password. It asked me for the activation key, and when you put in the correct key you'll see OK, and I hit OK, and that removed the password for that account. I'm going to do one other thing, is I'm going to pretend like this is a Windows 8.1 machine. This also comes in handy if you have a machine that when you try to log into your user, it says it won't let you log in. It'll give you an error back, but not a wrong password error, and that's usually from a corrupt account, and you can usually go in and reset administrator and go in that way. So we're going to go ahead and do two things. We're going to reset the administrator password, which you usually won't see this account at the login screen. But what we're going to do is we're going to remove the password, and I'm just going to back that down, and we'll go ahead and type in the key and hit OK or enter. And what we've done is remove the password for administrator, but we're going to do one other thing. We're going to highlight administrator and enable the user. Because administrator is not enabled by default, that's why you don't see it at the login screen. And we're just going to go ahead and, now that it's grayed out, we know it's been done. And then we're just going to save our changes and exit. So we hit save changes to make sure they're applied, and we exit. And now we've done two things. We've reset the account that I was having trouble getting in, and then pretending that this is a Windows 8.1 or later machine with the email account attached to the username, we're going to go ahead and do the administrator account so we can see both. So at that point we're just going to go ahead and shut the machine down. You'll see I can go up here to shut down. It does let you eject the CD if you're using the CD version. We're not, so we'll just unclick it. It doesn't really matter too much if you click that or not. And we're going to do a restart. We're going to pull out the USB drive just to make sure that it's not in there and doesn't go back to Windows or to the password reset. And here we go. So it's going to restart the machine, and we're just going to leave it alone. In this case I don't need to put the BIOS back. It's okay because there's no USB inserted. It's not going to look for one, and it's just going to move on in the list to the hard drive. Now there are some newer systems that you kind of have to set some things back, so it all depends, and again you'd want to read up on that or contact me for some help on that. Okay, so now you'll see that we have administrator now because I enabled it, and I also reset the password. We're going to just show you with this account here that I reset that the password is now gone, and it's easy to go in there. So that's basically it. The computer's fixed, and you can go in and get your files and so forth. If you're doing the administrator account, you can watch this a little further and I'll give you a few more details. I am going to log out just to get back to the user screen. And if you had to enable the administrator account to log in and reset like I showed you, just click on it and you'll get the welcome screen. Now preparing your desktop is because the account's never been logged into, and we're just going to go ahead and let it do that cycle for a few, maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so, and then you'll be able to see from there. So we'll come back after this has been done. Okay, well actually that happened pretty quick, so we'll just keep going. Sometimes that can take a little time. So anyway, so we have a brand new desktop. It's the administrator account. Now the only thing is you're not going to have all your files and so forth on this account, so you just need to go back and retrieve those. Now because it's the administrator account, I would suggest creating a new account to replace the one that you forgot the password for if you're using an email account, and then you can just go ahead and find your files in the old account. So to see how that's done, you just basically go into My Computer, or Computer, go to your C drive, and then you'll see a user's account, or folder I should say, and then we'll use my account for example, that account, and within that you'll see the desktop downloads and so forth. Documents is usually where people keep things. So if I go into the documents folder, you'll see there's several different documents in here, and I can just copy those and put them to my new account that I created, and everything's back to normal. Either way, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'd be glad to help you out. Otherwise, good luck remembering your password, and hopefully everything comes out great.